Okay, so we start our bar workout by everybody finding a spot, getting up on the bar and lifting to a front support, and you'll notice that the backs are hollow and the upper thighs are pressed against the bar, not the hips, because this is just showing that we can do a hollow position on the bar, which would be good for front hip circles. Okay, next we're going to move to arch position, and we're trying to do a tight arch, but without falling. Okay, so tight arch, legs are supposed to be straight, Ashley, and together. Okay, next we all get on the bar and we're doing our tight arch, and then we're going to drop to a pike and then push back to that tight arch. We're not going to actually cast, we're just going to go pike, tight arch, okay? Right here, Kylie's doing it very well. Pike, tight arch, pike, tight arch, okay? So that's the beginning of a cast. We have that nice heel drive. Then when we actually go to a cast, we do a small cast. Kylie, go ahead and do a small cast. And she pushed her heels up, but then we want to lift to a hollow at the end. So Emily, jump down real quick so that I can see the whole body position, and go Kylie. Cast, tight hollow, and again, push, cast, tight hollow. So her heels go up like that tight arch, but then she lifts off the bar and to a hollow body position. Next, we get everybody on the floor into a nice push-up position, and we're going to have our shoulders leaning on top of our fingertips or forward, but not behind. Arms should be shoulder width, and our hips are down, but the back is pressed up, so you can see a nice hollow back. Now, if you guys can show me a slight arch in your back so that I can demonstrate the wrong ones, that would help. Right here, Tara just drops to an arch, and a lot of times you'll see this from kids that don't understand the shape, and you are supposed to lift your hips and push your back to a hollow, so right there. Okay, so we're going to make everybody hold these for about 10 seconds at a time, and you're going to see people shaking out their arms and dropping to their knees, which is not supposed to happen, so everyone has to hold longer until that's fixed. Ashley, hips down. Right there. Okay, so we got to make those kind of corrections so that we have really nice casting on bars. Caitlin, turn your hands forward and lean your shoulders in front. Okay, so working on leg cuts and mill circles. We're going to put a mat underneath the gymnast so that it can reach where she can be on her tippy toes. Maybe a little bit taller mat for her would be good, depending on the height. You want to make sure that their hips can touch the bar. So she's going to be like she's in front support, but her feet are on the mat. And then she's going to switch her leg over, and that mat is giving her extra support. She holds her front leg up above the bar, and now she's going to go ahead and lift herself up like she did. So that she's holding both legs off the bar, nothing should be touching the bar, and the bottom leg can lift off that mat if possible. Then she's going to sit down, keep her legs totally straight, switch her hands around. When she switches her hands, she's trying to keep her arms locked also, so she's using her shoulders to switch. Caitlin, show us the switch again. Switch forward with locked elbows, and switch back with locked elbows. So she never bent her arms to switch. Now she lifts way, way up high, presses the front of her back leg against the bar, and steps onto that mat as far as possible. Alright, so this is the beginning of a mill circle. See how her chest stays up and her back stays stretched up. She's not laying down. Now show me the wrong way. Lay down on your front leg. We don't want to lay down like this on the front leg. We want to stay stretched. So you're stretching your shoulders forward like she did. So stretch forward a little more at the beginning. You did it really nice. You stretched forward a lot, but you stayed chest up. Okay, so her shoulders are still up, but she's stretching all the way forward. And this is a very, very good drill for mill circle. Okay, so for an undershoot drill, we're going to start in a stretched body position like that one we warmed up earlier. And then she is going to keep her hips touching the bar as she turns upside down, goes straight up and on top of the mat. So her goal was to get her hips on top as close as possible, and she did a very good job of that. You want to try not to roll the mat. If she had landed on it early, the mat would have rolled really far out. All right, go back up, Chloe, and show me one with a tiny little cast going into it, because now if they're a little bit less advanced and they need a little bit of momentum, they can't drop their shoulders as fast, then you can get a small little cast and do the same thing. Turn upside down and on top. Okay? Alright, so one of the kip drills, the basic kip drills, is stem rises, and it's where she starts in this tuck position. Somebody is holding the mat for her because this mat can slide, but depending on the weight of the mat or how hard the gymnast pushes, you may not need that. So she's going to go ahead and push off the block, pull with straight arms up to a front support. Okay, show us one more, Perry. Bent legs, push off the block, pull to front support, and she can even add a little cast there as she comes up too. So she can be ending the kip into a cast. Okay? Now how about single leg ones? Can you make one like that? because this is another way to do the drill where you actually get one leg comes up to the bar like a kip, the other leg pushes off the block. So she's going to do this and slide and kip. That's a start, okay? They won't always be able to make it. They may not even be able to make the first drill she just showed. But push and pull, okay? That's a start. Now, what you can do to make this a little easier is to push the block closer to the gymnast. So let's push that in just a little bit, and the closer it gets, the easier it is, including on that first drill she showed where she had both legs tucked. If you put it closer, you can get up easier. So right now, she may be able to make it with one leg up. Well, we already did that one. Let's show the single leg. She may be able to make it with the one leg up, the pull, and the push like a kip, okay? She's got to pull a little harder. Pull really hard, shift, and lean. Okay? It's a start. It still shows the pull down even if you can't get on top of the bars. Okay, so another kip drill is where they lay on the block and they have an extended glide swing. This is mimicking the end of the glide swing. And she's going to bring her shins up to the bar and go ahead and perform the kip. Now obviously this gymnast already has a kip. If they do not have a kip, this is an excellent spotting station. They can attempt some on their own, but if they come up and they have an arch, don't understand the shift, or don't understand all the pieces of it, then I would recommend spotting. Okay, another front hip circle drill that you can do that also is good for the ending of a kip is where you shift your hands and push onto off of a block onto the bar in front support. So push and lift. Okay, and notice how she has to finish in a pike looking at her toes, and that's the way we would want to finish a kip, is in a pike with your shoulders and head leaning over the bar. Again, pull. Alright, and then you can also have them emphasize the shift where you actually shift first, then lift. So she's going to start with her hands down. Press down so her wrists are pushed down. Now she's going to shift her wrists up first, then pull. Alright, so that helps them understand that there's a shift there before the finish of the front hip circle or the kip. Okay, the best way to introduce a glide swing is to make the gymnast start holding the bar in a hollow body the way that you would want to jump. If you had jumped off the springboard, you would want to catch the bar in this position, but just with your feet off the floor. So they're going to go from here and then just ever so slightly pick up the toes, glide out, extend and glide back, and she's supposed to try to land with her feet back a little more in that same position. So back a little more, Caitlin, with your feet. Right there. Alright, and then nice and hollow, shoulders down a little more. Open and lift to there. There we go. So we're working on that shape. So as they get a little more advanced, you can add in a little board, or right now let's just add in a tiny little jump. Okay, so stand up, scoot back a little from where you are, Caitlin, and stand up all the way. Off the board, off the bar. Stand. Now you're going to do the same exact position. You can actually start with your arms up if you want, so that you can start with your back hollow. Hollow your back, and now jump a tiny little jump and do the same positions that we just went through. Okay, and then as she gets more advanced, she can swing her arms in to the same thing. Swing, hollow, and that was a little too pike. So that's what you usually see, is you see a jump right to a pike. So we're trying to work on jump, a little more toes down and out. So one more. Toes down and out. That's better. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start right here for back to circles in a nice hollow, that position that we showed earlier when we were doing just holds on the bar. And she's not going to do anything except stay really, really tight. I'm going to throw her shoulders back and leave her around the bar. Ready? Throw and finish in a tight, tight hollow. This is the way that you can actually correct, because you will see a lot of gymnasts tight here, bend their arms here, and this is how you get to correct it, is by seeing it without adding the calves. So you can really see each piece. Okay, she's doing it really nice now. You try to pike for me so that you can kind of see a little pike, a little bit of arms. You see if she can do it incorrectly. And I throw her back, and she pikes and bends her arms. So that gives me the idea that I can just push her hips into the bar a little more, not let her slide off and bend her arms. So I'm going to tell her, lock your arms, squeeze your butt, and then I might go a little bit slower and make sure that she knows how to finish with locked elbows. Okay? And then as she gets a little more advanced, we can add a small calf, make sure it's a nice hollow, just a little tiny calf, and then I still throw her shoulders and pull her up. Okay, so I'm pushing her shoulder back to give her momentum, and that's to explain to her that your momentum, your rotation comes from your shoulders dropping back. It doesn't come from throwing your feet into a pike, okay? And we also are emphasizing that the hips want to hit the bar under or on this side, but not back on the side that she just came from. Okay, so one more. Notice that her hips, do a little calf on this one, little calf, and her hips come onto the bar. When her hips touched the bar, they were on my side. They weren't back on her side. That means she was already rotating, okay?